Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to BBallBreakdown. A little special Saturday afternoon breakdown for you because what's going on in Chicago is pretty crazy in my mind. Last year we broke down a lot of their issues, and it's different stuff, but just equally as bad, where they're going to struggle to make the playoffs and maybe not make it. And the issue I have is that Dwyane Wade and Jimmy Butler, guys got together in the showers before they spoke to the media and said, we're going to call out our teammates.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know how you fix it. It just doesn't mean enough for guys around here to want to win ball games. And, it pisses me off, but I can't be frustrated and I can't care too much for these guys. They got to care for themselves. So we got to do better. Guys got to look at themselves in the mirror and see, do you really care enough? Are you putting everything into this for your teammates and for yourself? I would say no, but...
Just got to care if we win or lose. In end of the day, do whatever it takes to help the team win. You play your role to the team, be a star in your role, man. That's how you win in this league, man. You have to embrace what this team, what this organization needs for you to do on either end of the floor. And on top of everything else, man, just play every possession like it's your last. We don't play hard all the time, man. It's very disappointing whenever we don't play hard.
So the biggest problem I have with what they're saying in public to the press is that when you point your finger at somebody else, well, that's three fingers pointing back at yourself. And so I went through that Hawks game to see, well, what did Butler and Wade do to contribute to the loss? Because it couldn't just possibly be Mirotic or Michael Carter-Williams, who didn't even play in that game, but apparently he's the object of their ire. And you do that in a public forum, it does you no good at all as a team. Now, we already know that Butler has had issues with Fred Hoiberg in the past, where he hasn't coached him hard enough and he's called him out in the press.
I believe in the guys in the locker room, yeah. But I also believe that we probably have to be coached a lot harder at times. I'm sorry, I know that Fred's a laid-back guy, and I really respect him for that. But when guys aren't doing what they're supposed to do, you got to get on guys, myself included. You got to do what you're supposed to do when you're out there playing basketball.
And then we caught him during the Hawks game, shaking off a perfectly reasonable timeout call that he wanted to set up if the Hawks missed one of their free throws deep in the fourth quarter. And so clearly there's a big issue there. And the Bulls are going to have to decide who they want to keep. And if they're going to keep Butler, then I think that means Hoiberg is gone. He might not make it to the All-Star game the way this is going. And they're going to have another lost year. And it's the roster construction is already poor. So Hoiberg might actually be kind of happy to get out of the situation because it's not the kind of players that can run the kind of offense that he likes to run. It's frustrating to watch now because this ain't what he signed up for. Now, Rondo got involved and got onto Instagram and started, calling out Wade and Butler and trying to protect the young guys. And I kind of like the idea there, but again, not in public, not conducive. And it certainly doesn't mean anything to me to compare the veterans that he had in Boston, Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, to what he's got now in Chicago. Kind of just different scenarios all around the board. And if Wade doesn't have meniscus in his knees anymore, so he simply isn't going to practice every day. And that's what seemed like Rajon Rondo wanted to call him out for. So a complete mess. There's a lot of things going to happen pretty soon. And before we get into the footage, I want to tell you about our friends over at SeatGeek, because they have a terrific app for any of your event or game tickets that you want. And I love Tom Petty. So I'm going to go on there, I'm going to find out the best seats I can find, and they grade them for you. And you can see where those seats are. And they have the biggest outreach on the internet to tell you from all the different places what the tickets are and whether or not it's a great value. So you should go on there and go in the settings. And if you input the code BBall in the promotional code area, you will save $20. That's right. Use my code BBall. Don't use Wojnarowski's or Zach Lowe or anybody else. Use mine, BBall. And on your first purchase, you'll save $20. So enjoy that concert or sporting event, whichever you choose on there, and save some money by using my code. So now let's talk about that Hawks game a little bit, because I want to go through some of the footage and show you what I saw and why Dwyane Wade and Jimmy Butler deserved a little bit of calling out themselves. One key to the Hawks winning this game was outscoring the Bulls from the three-point line by 27 points. Let's look at a few of their threes to see what the issue was. Here, Wade is late reacting, then gets stuck under the screen against Sefolosha, who is only shooting 33% from three. However, you can't give him this much space and rhythm. Wade showed a lot more energy on this defensive possession, and I like how he jumps out on the switch, and this was a good contest until he foolishly fouls the jump shooter and it turns into a 4-point play. On this kick out to the corner, Wade positions his feet to simply allow a straight line drive to the hoop. This forces rotations and it makes Michael Carter-Williams look bad when his man scores, but it's a direct result of Wade's defense. And here's a real doozy as Wade just steps out of the way, allows middle penetration. Carter-Williams had to rotate down and again his man scores, but it all started with Wade's poor defense. Now let's look at Jimmy Butler's defense. It's a mistake to allow the team to roll the ball into the front court and save them precious time, and then he goes under the screen on Schroeder, who's actually shooting the 3-ball this year pretty well. Later in the third, Butler is slow and out of position on this pinch post action, and it collapses the whole defense, leading directly to this open look for Millsap. And once again, as the Hawks are hanging around, Butler goes underneath this screen and gives a good look to Schroeder. So let's talk about Michael Carter-Williams on offense a little bit. Of course, his synergy numbers for the Bulls are all-time bad so far, so I can't blame Wade and Butler for being down on him, and his turnover rate among guards is not good. He also doesn't finish well at the rim, so I get it, not the kind of guy you'd want to pass to for a shot of any kind. But in the flow of an offense, it's a bad idea to decide ahead of time that you're simply never going to pass to a specific teammate. Here, the offense calls for a pass to Carter-Williams so he can feed Wade in the post. Butler won't pass and decides to dribble it over there. The defense takes away the pass, they try to get the duck in, and now that the clock is almost up, Michael Carter-Williams is forced to throw up the hardest shot of them all. Okay, some of these are subtle and might be me seeing things. But first, after Butler turns it over twice, once by dribbling the ball after picking it up, and then dribbling it again, he has a guard wide open on the perimeter to pass to. Instead, he throws it to Lopez, who can't do anything with it out there. On this one, it looks like he starts to throw it to Carter-Williams, only to hesitate, then pass to Taj instead. The clock then winds down and he finally passes it to Michael Carter-Williams, but it's way too late, and this was actually a shot clock violation the refs missed. And again, he opts to pass the ball to Lopez on the perimeter instead of MCW out top. The shot clock was winding down. At least Carter-Williams could try and drive or something. Instead, and Butler knows this, it has to go back to Butler, and he ends up getting stripped. But watch the hustle by MCW to get back and take this charge. Now, let's go through the final minutes of the game versus the Hawks, where all of Wade and Butler's media tantrum generated from. As a quick recap, Butler went off for 40 points, nailing shots from all over the floor, and Wade got his mid-range going to the tune of 33 points. Together, they took 49% of the whole team's shots. So here we are, a 10-point lead for the Bulls at home, and the Hawks run a great action where they ball screen Butler, then flare screen him on the switch. He can't get around in time, and Millsap hits the triple. The Bulls then get completely misaligned, running a pick and roll to the left, even though Gibson is cutting through there and Lopez is already on that side. There isn't any room, but Wade is open. Butler makes a mistake by passing it to Lopez, who promptly gets it stripped on an ill-advised spin move. The Hawks come down and miss a quick three, but grab the long rebound, which happens, and Wade goes for the pass fake to Hardaway, leaving Schroeder wide open to bury another three. With a 4-point lead, the Bulls get stagnant, and it's all on Wade. He cuts back out for the ball, holds it, can't get penetration, then breaks up this terrible shot. Now, on the way back down the court, he does not sprint. Zipser is worried about Schroeder, who's nailed some threes. Wade tries to call it out to him, but too late. The ball pinballs back to the corner, sucks Butler in, and now it's a 1-point game. On the replay, I know you'll want to say it's on Zipser, and that's partly true, but it all could have been avoided if Wade had ran as hard as he could back on defense. The Bulls' offense was starting to remind me of OKC's offense from last year, stagnant, rote, with very little action. The ball doesn't get below the free throw line, and this isn't a terrible look by Zipser, but he can't get it to fall. This time, Butler defends that flare screen better, but it leaves Schroeder ISO'd on Taj, and Lopez needs to get there earlier. Now they're down, but with lots of time left. The Bulls run another high pick and roll, and this is a good shot. Butler can't hit it, and no one is in position for the offensive rebound, and they wisely foul Dwight Howard, who hits 1 free throw. They run the same play for Butler, and he really earns his paycheck on this shot, getting Bazemore up in the air, then banking it in. This flare screen the ball screener's man really hurt the Bulls down the stretch. They run it again, and Schroeder gets right to the rim again. This time, Wade correctly defends the corner 3, but Zipser doesn't recognize he needs to stay home on Dwight in the lane. Not sure he would do too much, but this was an easy pass and an easy bucket. The Bulls are now down 2, and you can get a 2-for-1 out of this if it's a quick enough shot. You certainly don't need a 3, but Hoiberg calls a hammer play, an action that specifically is designed to get a 3-pointer. Watch McDermott get the hammer screen from Mirotic. This is well defended by the Hawks, a team that is certainly no stranger to the hammer play, and they get a contested 3 from Mirotic that misses. Not only do they not need a 3-pointer here, but they took so much time off the clock they are forced to now foul, and this essentially ends the game. While Butler forces up another bad shot and probably should have gotten the call here, they still would have been down 1 if he made them all, and it would have been an uphill battle without any timeouts left once they foul the Hawks again. So there you have it, sports fans. It's very concerning to me that Butler and Wade would make a conscious decision to go to the media to call out their younger teammates and their coach. This is the kind of thing you never see from model franchises like the Spurs or the Warriors. These issues didn't start with the Atlanta game, but they're a microcosm of what's been going on in Chicago for 2 years. And when your home fans start booing you as the game finishes, that means, without question, a big shakeup is on its way.
Had some guys missing.
Yes, they did.
And walked in here now, going to win their 6th game in a row.
And they're going to improve to 17-30. So